I do want to talk about these NBA bad boys. Let's talk about guys. No, I'm joking. The bad boys. I was watching some games last night, and there are some bad men in the NBA. And I'm going to start with one that's very close to home. One, Damian Lillard. Now, maybe things have not clicked exactly like a lot of people thought they would in Milwaukee, but last night, and Vlad, I know you were probably watching the game because it was the New York Knicks, it was the Milwaukee Bucks. Game was very close. Jalen Brunson's a bad man. He made some big shots, but when the Bucks needed a basket, you knew who was going to get the ball, and you knew who was going to score. Damian Lillard, bad man, hits threes, hits and ones, and the Bucks go on to win. Damian Lillard's a bad man, and not only could the Heat have used his 25, 30 points a game, but that clutch gene that he has, because when it gets down to crunch time, you know it is Dame time, and he oftentimes will deliver in games. Like last night, did you see like him hitting threes and layups and everything at the end of the game when they needed baskets?
Yeah, I saw it.
Absolute bad man. You got to admit that, correct?
Of course.
Of course. Another bad man, Nikola Jovic. And I know Heat Nation doesn't love him either for the stuff with Markieff Morris and him beating us in the NBA Finals last night, but he's a bad man through the whole game. He's hitting threes at halftime. He's going triple double. I mean, he is just stone cold. He is a bad man. Want to give credit where credit's due. Jalen Brunson. Anytime you guys for the Knicks needed a basket last night, he hit big shot after big shot after big shot. He's kind of an underappreciated bad man, but he is a bad man.
Okay, where are we going with this? Don't you have a bad man?
That's what I'm wondering now. Of course, Zion Williamson, when he's on the court, when he's healthy,
I wasn't know
he's
about
a
the
bad man.
Pelicans.
That's what I was going to ask.
I wasn't about to ask.
Do the Heat have a bad man?
Of course they got a bad man.
Do they have bad men? Is Jimmy Butler your bad man?
Is that you're even asking that question?
Is he a bad man?
Come on, man. Jimmy's a bad man. We're not even asking that.
When you need it, he's there.
Did 56 against Milwaukee remind you that?
No.
Okay.
Is Bam Adebayo a bad man?
In what you're describing, no. In what you're looking for, those particular traits, I would say
just a stone cold killer.
He's a stone cold killer, but he's a bad man, but he's a bad man on the defensive side. He's not a bad man offensively.
He does a little bit on both sides. But
he does, but when I'm talking about like if you give the ball, you go to basket, you're talking about that type of thing. Because I think if I see where you're heading with this, you're asking me if you're about to ask me if Tyler Hero is a bad man.
I was really going to say Thomas Bryant, who I love, my favorite Heat player.
I know
he's been a bad man coming off the bench.
But you're asking if
I told you that.
Because Tyler scored the most
triple
points
last night.
He scored the most points through 5 games, the third most points through 5 games to start a season behind LeBron and D Wade. So Tyler's showing that, he's put the work in. But are you asking me, is he in the same realm like a Jalen Brunson or a Dame time? I don't think so.
I don't think yet. I think he's getting to that point. That's my thing. He has the potential to be a bad man. And if you have he and Jimmy Butler both being bad men at the end of games, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of close games this year for the Heat. Actually, it looks like the Heat are going to pull up by 15 or 16 at one point. Then it's going to end up being a close game at the end. But that that's the NBA. But if you can have Jimmy Butler, who is an established bad man, and Tyler Hero, you got 2 options at bad man at the end of the game. I think Tyler's got the potential to do it. I think he can be that bad man, to be honest with you. Look at the numbers he's put up. He just needs to put it up now in the fourth quarter when the game is on the line. But I'll say this. I think Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero can be a 1-2 bad man. I think Bam Adebayo, he's just a bad man throughout the game. He's not one of those guys at the end of the game that you're just going to say, feed him the ball.
If he's on, he's on. Jimmy's that type of a player that he doesn't need the ball all the time. So if a guy's going on, if a guy's hot, he's going to give the ball. He's going to get that ball to that guy. So if Tyler's scoring and he's carrying the offensive load, that's great. That's why there was so much. That's why everybody wanted Dame to come so much, because of the fact that Jimmy wouldn't have to do everything offensively and also on the defensive end when he's got to guard the best wing player on the opposing team. If Tyler can stay healthy, that's always a big concern.
With everybody,
I think he can be that guy, but is it still going to be enough to get you where you want to get to? I don't know yet.
And that's why I like this in-season tournament last night. It's kind of like a reboot for a Heat team that needed a reboot after losing those 4 games in a row. Now, granted, I'm not going to say the road trip was the worst thing in the world. It's hard to beat a team on the road in the NBA, much less good teams on the road in the NBA. So you kind of got caught up early in the season. I figured you'd win all 3 next home games and kind of negate those 3 losses on the road. You ended up losing the Nets. You beat the Wizards. But the restart kind of the in-season tournament, it's kind of a fresh start. You kind of turn things around.
Yeah, but it doesn't really though, Dan. You're still playing the regular season games. Just that game. All right, that game has 2 meanings. It's a win in the regular season, and it's a win in the in-season tournament. Okay, whatever. When's the second in-season tournament game? It's not like it's a continuous thing where it's like the tournament. It's all right, you play this game, fine, it counts. All right, in another week or so, you're gonna play another team that's in your group. You're not gonna, it's not, you just can't get excited for one game against, oh, I'm excited for the Wizards game, and the Laker game is coming. You're like, it's just a regular game.
No, but it's added something.
It's a bit, come on. It's LeBron, it's AD, it's the Lakers.
That's something.
Okay, right. So that game's gonna matter because of the competition, not because there's a added incentive to it. So I don't think the Wizard playing the Wizards in the first game of the in-season tournament was what the Heat needed. The Heat needed to win because they lost 4 in a row. This was it wasn't like there was an extra incentive. They needed to win because you don't want it as the NBA finalist. You don't want to start the season 1-5, and then people start looking at it like, oh, you're giving up big leads in games. What's going on with the Heat? Why are they giving up big leads? You don't want to set a narrative to continue, because that's what people are setting right now. But I don't think it was the in-season tournament. They just needed to win because they needed to win.
It's a team that needs more positives, and the more positives, the better. Number one, you do get a regular season win. You get a win in the whatever in-season tournament. You get the 3 points. You're back now. You've won a game at home. You're 2-4. You're starting to build towards something. It's just a lot of positivity. And, it's a lot of more things that in your head you can say, okay, we're getting things going. We're doing good. Tyler Hero almost has a triple-double. And a lot of people scored in double digits last night. It was a lot of positivity. And I don't know. I feel as though it was a little bit of a reboot and a lot more positive for the Heat going forward. Now you play a Lakers team who on paper got much better in the offseason, I thought. Are they going to be good this year? I do think the Lakers are going to be a really good team this year. I think that Monday night is going to be a tough battle for a team that, number one, wants to prove that they can continue to win, while the Heat, not that they need to win, but it wouldn't hurt to win at all. Like another loss would be very tough, especially a home loss and only going 1-2 on this homestand. Then you go out to Memphis. We know Memphis is a hot mess. Ja Morant's not playing. He's got his own issues. But yeah, I'm trying to get some positivity. Speaking of bad men, there's another bad man on the Miami Heat, but I don't mean it in the way that I was talking about the other guys. I'm talking about a guy who's making $30 million a year and not giving you a ton of production. Kyle Lowry.
Duh.
I mean, the return on investment there, not so great. Now, I know he kind of helps run the offense and do all that stuff, but he has not been very productive this season at all. At all.
Listen. 6 games into the season, I could say, give it some time, but what's this, his 3rd season with the Heat right now?
Yeah,
we're starting his 3rd season with the Heat. It's been a lot of up and downs in the first 2 years, so yeah, if he doesn't get his, it's kind of hard because that's what Jimmy's boy, and also Lowry is such a great. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's an NBA Hall of Famer.
He is a Hall of Famer.
Basketball Hall of Famer. He's going to be a basketball Hall of Famer. So, yeah, but who's out there?
Yeah, who you got?
Who you gonna get?
Nobody.
And nobody's looks like they're willing to make moves with you. So you're gonna have to get a 3rd team.
That's one of those things. But Kyle Lowry, need a little more production from you guys, man. Yeah. Well, nonetheless, I do say I told you Thomas Bryant, he was gonna be a spark plug. He's been pretty good. He's been scoring.
Yeah. Now, how's he on the other end?
He's been all right.
No, he's not all right. They haven't played. He's a liability defensively. But
cover that up with his own defense.
We'll see. I just don't. I think Spo is just upset with I guess the attitude of the team, maybe, or just maybe not the attitude, but just the way they maybe no sense of urgency early in the season.
Yeah, Jimmy has kind of sound checked out a little bit in the post-game interviews. But
Really?
then again, he always kind of does. But yeah,
No, I mean every interview is always guaranteeing, or they're gonna win and stuff like that. But even he, after the loss to Brooklyn, started to say that yeah, we got to get our act together. Yesterday's win was very much needed. I don't think they like the way they're playing that towards the end of the games because they're giving up big leads.
they
So
gave him a
that's the
25-point lead for
problem.
a while last
That's
night.
right. So you're starting to see like it's not like they're not playing well. They're playing great. They're getting big double-digit leads, but they're allowing them to come back. So it seems to me their sense.
Let's look at the bright side. There's been big leads in there. That's a positive in a way, showing that you can whoop up on teams. The negative is that you've given up big leads. That's not good. Jimmy Butler didn't play in the preseason. Maybe he's getting his footing. It's early in the year. Caleb Martin's been hurt. He hasn't been good. Caleb didn't play last night. Coach's decision, saying that it just wasn't a good matchup. They were resting him. They wanted to get Haywood Highsmith going. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think it's a thing.
No, but it's true because if you're gonna put K Love at the 4, and you got Kyle Kuzma, you got Gifford, you got all these
Just not a good matchup.
athletic. You have athletic bigs. That's not a good matchup for K Love.
Thomas Bryant, though, has been good. He's been great off the bench. Gotta love that. Bam's been pretty good for the most part. Tyler playing great, out of this world. So there's a lot of positives to glean from this team, despite their record being a little worse than we thought it would be at this point. Nonetheless, you got those 2 bad men. You definitely have 1 bad man, maybe a second bad man. And I'm not talking about Batman. I'm talking about a bad man.
Listen,
Tyler Hero.
if Tyler becomes that bad man, I don't think you hear any talk about him being traded or needing to bring somebody else.
I don't think you trade him anymore.
I mean,
I think it's done. We've tried. When you got that girl, you just can't get rid of her. You try to get rid of her, and you finally can't. And you finally just say, you know what? Let's ride. It's time to just ride with Tyler Hero. He wants to be here. Obviously, can't get rid of him. He's playing really great. Let's go. Tyler Hero. That's our dude right there. We're riding with him.